What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Wednesday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Coneyman. Full disclosure, I just recorded this video about 15 minutes ago, went to fire it up and realized, this wasn't on. So if it seems a little bit quicker than it normally is, it's because I've already rehearsed this. I've practiced this once and I've already recorded this. Welcome back to a Wednesday edition. We had a nice off day yesterday, just kind of chilled out, watched the Blue Jays game, took a break from the books, which is always very refreshing when you do this each and every day. Always recommend it. And back with a fun video today. We've got NBA, we've got NHL, we've got MLB, and we've got MLS. So 4 different sports to talk about today. But before we do, I just want to remind you, now that it is June, there's 8 days left in this contest where I'm going to be giving you $25 in cash to make bets at your book of your choice. All you have to do to enter, be a subscriber here on YouTube. You're automatically entered 3 times for that. You can comment on every video. Every time you comment, it's an additional entry. If you follow me on Twitter, every time I post a Squeeze daily video, you retweet that for 3 entries. Like it for 1 entry. Make sure you follow me there, and you can have 100 entries if you want. I don't care. And on June 9th edition of The Squeeze, I'm going to draw names, and the winner will get $25 sent to you in cash to place bets at a book of your choice. Okay, let's get into it today. We're 1-2 on the week, by the way. Don't really need to talk about Monday, Miami Heat. We did have, if you bet the Heat on the money line, I mentioned in Monday's video, they were plus 270. Game 7 of an Eastern Conference final, and a team is a plus 270 underdog. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So if you bet that, good for you. Now we're gonna talk about the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, and we've got a nice little parlay. I've got the Denver Nuggets to win, and the Vegas Golden Knights plus 1.5. So the Nuggets to win on their own is minus 400. They're one of the biggest favorites in the last 20 years since I think the Detroit Pistons won in 2004. They were the biggest underdog. Look, Miami's beat Milwaukee, they've beat New York, and they've beat Boston. I don't know how this is going to go. There's also a Nuggets minus 1.5 spread bet, but the way Miami's been playing, you've got Jimmy Butler, you've got Kyle Lowry, you've got Eric Spoelstra against the Denver team that's never been there before. I think Denver wins this series, and they very well could win it in 5 games, but I'm not going to bet against the Miami Heat. So just the Denver Nuggets to win the NBA championship, and then the Vegas Golden Knights plus 1.5 in their series. So if Vegas wins, we win. If they lose in Game 7, we win. So as long as the Florida Panthers don't win this series in 4, 5, or 6, which seems unlikely, and the Nuggets win, we cash a minus 127 series prop parlay. Florida's been good, but I have a Conn Smythe bet on Bobrovsky. I do think if Florida wins, this is going to have to go 7 games. But again, I just said I'm not going to bet against Miami. Florida has beaten Boston, Toronto, and Carolina. And it really didn't look all that difficult in the last 2 rounds, right? But I think Vegas is the better overall team. I think maybe at some point Florida slows down a little bit, but hey, if Florida wins this in 7, we still win. So Denver Nuggets to win the NBA championship, Golden Knights to win the Stanley Cup, or to lose it in 7 games, minus 127. You get that at DraftKings. The NBA Finals starts tomorrow, so get that bet in. Now we're going to shift to Major League Baseball, where you've got the Atlanta Braves and the Oakland Athletics. Now, going into this series, the Oakland Athletics were on pace for, 30 wins and the worst record in MLB history by 20 games. What have they done? Well, they've gone out and won the first 2 games of the series against the Atlanta Braves. Who saw that coming? Sorry, I'm just pulling up the screen here. They beat the Braves in Game 1 of this series 7-2, and then they beat them 2-1. Now, this bet definitely hedges on the fact that, well, Atlanta is the best team in the American League East. Oakland is one of the worst teams in the history of baseball. So can they sweep the Atlanta Braves even though it's at home? I don't see it coming. Braves haven't been great on the run line. They're 22-33. Oakland's actually been worse. Away from Atlanta this year, Braves are a much better road team. They were 17-9, so coming into this series 17-7. Oakland coming into this series 5-23 at home, which is soon going to be Vegas. So I think the Atlanta Braves can get it done. Caprielian for Oakland, he's 0-5 record with an 8.45 ERA and a 1.88 whip. Terrible. By the way, Atlanta is 31-22 to the over, so they're scoring a ton of runs. Going for Atlanta today is Jared Schuster. He hasn't been great. He's 1-2 with a 5.33 ERA, but he hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs in his last 3 starts. So he had a rough start to the year. He's starting to figure it out, and he's got a lineup that is, well, the Oakland A. So even when Oakland won one of these games, they scored 2 runs. In their last several games, they scored 2, 7, 4, 1, 4. Sorry, I'm looking at Atlanta. Oakland has scored 2, 7. Then they've scored 1, 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, 0. They cannot score. I'm looking for the Atlanta Braves to right the ship here and to get this victory on the run line. Now, it is juicy. I don't usually like paying this much juice. You're not going to want to bet the money line. It's like minus 250, but you can get it at minus 135, so 1.35 units down on DraftKings for the Atlanta Braves to get the third game of this series, not get swept by the Oakland A's, and win this on the run line. And our last bet of the day, we're going to MLS action. So like I said, we've got NBA, we've got NHL, we've crossed off MLB. Now let's get to MLS. We've got the Seattle Sounders, the best team in the Western Conference, going up against San Jose, the Earthquakes. Now they are not too bad. They're 6th in the Eastern or in the Western Conference as well. But San Jose, they've only lost one of its last 4 MLS matches against Seattle, but they do tend to have more draws than anything. The Sounders won against the Red Bulls last Saturday, which took them to 26 points, as I mentioned, 1st in the Western Conference. This is the 7th time Seattle's collected 25 or more points through its first 15 matches of the season. That's, better than any other team in MLS since 2009. San Jose is winless in 14 straight MLS games on the road. It's the second longest active run in MLS. Vancouver has actually been worse. The Earthquakes have one longer road winless run in MLS's club history. So that's kind of what I'm basing this on, is, as I mentioned, Seattle's 26 points and San Jose's at 19, but Seattle's 5-2 at home, whereas San Jose is 0-5-2 on the road. They haven't won on the road yet. They barely won on the road last year. So I think Seattle is the better team. When you look at the statistics going down, they've got a much better possession percentage. By 12%, it's better. They average 1 full more shot on goal per game. Their passing accuracy is much better as well. They get more corners. Really, they get everything more than San Jose does. And you add in the factor that they're playing at home. So I'm going to take the Seattle Sounders to get it done on the money line. That's minus 118 at BetRivers. So there is your card for a Wednesday. I'm taking the Denver Nuggets to win the championship and the Vegas Golden Knights plus 1.5 in their series. That's a minus 127 parlay at DraftKings. I'm taking the Atlanta Braves on the run line, minus 1.5 for minus 135 at DraftKings, and give me the Seattle Sounders on the money line, minus 118 at BetRivers. As always, drop a comment if you're fading or following. You can follow me on Twitter at Tyler Connie for more picks and props throughout the day. TikTok and Instagram for just the picks portions, and your audio is on Spotify and on Apple. Have a great Wednesday. Let's talk sports.